AEW fans should be more than confident with the words that Tony Khan recently said about AEW and the WBD Paramount deal. Plus, we have had a great last 48 hours of pro wrestling. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to Screw the Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick here. Thanks for joining me this Sunday evening on this video. Like, comment, subscribe. If you subscribe to the fact that you are pro AEW like I am and you're sick and tired of AEW haters wishing for it to fail, we go against that script. We say, screw that script. That's what this channel is all about. If you're new here or if you've been a long-time viewer and you haven't yet subscribed, I would much appreciate it and hype this video. Now, going into the big topic on this video, firstly, we're going to talk about what Tony Khan has said recently about AEW and their recent, what seems like the acquiring that Paramount Plus is going to get of WBD and its shows, some of its movies. We're not entirely sure what it is exactly because it's not something that's not going to take effect until, I believe, end of 2027. So we still got a long road to go. But Tony Khan said something very promising for AEW fans and something that anti-AEW fans, the AEW haters, those, E-stands and people who just don't want anything else but WWE on American soil, they can shove it. Multiple sources within AEW have indicated that Tony Khan was enthusiastic about the possibility of the company continuing its relationship with WBD. Following the proposed Paramount merger, one source said Khan viewed it as a favorable outcome for AEW. Despite speculation surrounding Paramount's existing relationship with TKO and UFC, a Paramount source told Fightful Select that there is no exclusivity agreement that would prevent AEW from being added to the company's portfolio. That same source, while not an official spokesperson, noted that UFC works for Paramount and not the other way around. So, what you can gather from that is that Tony Khan is very positive about the acquisition of Paramount Plus getting WBD. He doesn't seem to be worried about AEW going over there if that's where they end up going and that's where their new home ends up being. I also read a month or two ago that Paramount Plus doesn't seem to want to do anything to WBD and HBO Max and kind of just keep it as it is, but they own HBO Max. So I've said this before previously on my channel a couple months back. I'll say it again for those of you who are new and haven't been here since then. It seems like Paramount Plus is going to be kind of like Disney Plus, where you go on to the app, and if you're familiar with Disney Plus, you scroll down and you have Hulu there now because Disney owns Hulu. That's going to be the same thing. You're going to go to Paramount Plus, you'll see the HBO Max section, you click on that, and then you'll be able to find AEW in there. That's simple. That's probably likely what's going to happen. That's the outcome that I truly feel like is going to happen by the end of 2027 when this is all said and done. Long story short, we don't need to worry about anything with AEW losing TV deals, all that bullshit that E-stands want to spew out of their throats and say AEW is going to fail, blah, blah, blah. We've heard this 80 times, 100 times in the last 7 years, and each and every single time they think it's going to fail and they wish upon failure for AEW, they look like complete dumbasses. And they look more and more stupid the more times it happens. So, to those AEW haters, to those E-stands, you can kindly fuck off. And some proof in the numbers and why I feel like Paramount is happy with the direction that AEW is going. All of 2025 was fantastic for AEW. 2026, they are still the best company. I think they're better than New Japan. I think they're better than MLP, MLW, obviously WWE, miles ahead of TNA. WWE only had one good thing happen so far in 2026, and I'll get to that in a few minutes with the show that happened yesterday. But look at this. Promising stuff to back up AEW not going anywhere, which looks good for them, and I'm sure Paramount's happy with. Double or Nothing achieves the second largest buys in AEW history. They're on track to surpass 200,000 total buys. It's $40 on HBO Max, which is what I use. If you just take that metric, times that by 200,000, you are looking at $8 million. They've made $8 million just from pay-per-view buys. That is incredible for AEW. 7-year company, and they just had a show. Just purchases alone for the pay-per-view, $8 million. Plus, they had a gate of over 1.5 million, I believe it was, close to 2, I think. So you're looking at $10 million just from those. That doesn't include merch sales or anything like that. They likely walked away with well over $10 million from that show alone. And that should prove that they are 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, the best pro wrestling company in America that isn't WWE. Obviously, I've said this before, I'll say it again. They're never going to be at WWE's prestige unless some crazy shit happens with WWE where they completely fold and go under. Because WWE has 40, 50 years head start over AEW. But the fact that AEW just had a show that probably likely broke $10 million total in money that was made from it for a 7-year-old company, that is something that you never saw TNA do and never can do, especially now. And it's honestly stuff that it's on par with shows that New Japan has done and everything, and they've been around longer than AEW. So this is great news for AEW fans. Now to recap Collision. It was a fun Collision. Nothing great. It wasn't my favorite Collision of the year by far. Just want to really recap. Lee Moriarty showcases talents. He won. Hazuki and Maya World. Great match. The women really highlighted the show. It was actually my favorite part of the show. They had a great match. Hazuki wins, and she moves on to she's going to be facing Persephone in the first round of the women's Owen. So that was good. Infantry lost to the Death Riders. No shock there. TJ survives, I should say, the 5 minutes against Divine Dominion. Divine Dominion, by the way, great video package entrance. I love the logo. And they survived. So they get a title shot, I believe, next Saturday's Collision, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was great. So, all in all, women really showcased Collision really well. But then you've got Conglomeration and the Don Callis family. Conglomeration, I believe, ended up winning that, if I'm not mistaken. But the two big matches that I want to talk about, further proving what I've said in a recent video, that AEW's heels are on another level versus other companies. You had the Guns and the Dogs wearing their new shirts that say the new 5-second pose or something like that on the back, and then it's them from last Wednesday. Hilarious, great heel shirt there. I actually might buy it. They came out on top of Guns, and we know, everybody, you know how excited I am. This is 100% leading to Jay White returning, and we're going to get the Dogs versus the Guns, Bullet Club Gold. It's going to be absolute chaotic warfare, and I hope that they lead this up to All In and Wembley. They'll probably have a first match where we may see the heels win, the Dogs win at Forbidden Door, and then I think they will lose to Jay White and his crew at All In Wembley. Or maybe they could do it the other way, but I think this is where that's going, and it's very exciting to see. And then Takeshita, first successful defense against Danny Garcia. Really, really good match. Garcia, he's a great worker. I hope that he gets a singles belt at some point again in the future. Then we saw Takeshita get, rounded up by the family, and he got saved this time around by the Conglomeration and others. Just chaos at the end of the Collision. All in all, decent Collision. It wasn't my favorite of the year, but the highlights for me is seeing Takeshita face now have a successful defense. The build to the Dogs versus Jay White and the Guns is going to be fucking good. And the women. The women looked really good last night on Collision. MLW Fusion happened. The whole show, I believe, is on YouTube for you to watch. I suggest watching it. Killer Cross with the press conference. Austin Aries versus Trevor Lee was good. Shotzi and Priscilla tore the house down. Love to see those two, get their dues. Leah James match, that was really good. Bishop Dyer, which I've read may be returning to WWE after he finishes his bookings on the Indies Hammerstone. Good match. Good Brothers versus Joe and Mark Coffey. Solid match. And there's the rest list. It was good. MLW kind of has a resurgence of their own going on, and I highly suggest watching that if you did not catch that this weekend. Again, I believe it's free on YouTube. Now, I want to take a couple of minutes. I haven't talked about WWE much because this is a pro AEW channel. And the reason why I don't talk about WWE anymore is because I just think it's in the shitter, and it's been that way for a while, basically since TKO has taken over, and it's been shit for a while. But Undertaker and Rey Mysterio. Now, Undertaker runs AAA. Rey Mysterio's the new GM or whatever. I forget. It was really well done, minus Rey Mysterio's commentary, which wasn't that good, I'm going to be honest. Taker put on a damn good show. He's the best booker in WWE by far after this show. Rey Fenix won a title, which finally he wins a singles title. It's not technically a WWE title, but it's at least something. But that match between El Grande Americano versus the OG El Grande Americano, I never cared for the gimmick storyline, I'm going to be honest. I thought it was funny for the first couple of months, then I got bored of it, thought it was lame, but it's always how you finish the storyline and the match and how everything kind of gels together. And this was by far, not even this year, this was probably the best WWE match that they've put on. They haven't done something like this in forever. It had everything. It had, good storyline. Granted, I didn't care for the gimmick, but the lead up to it turned into something different. And the match quality was great. You had everything. You had interferences. You had a fucking headshot from a guitar. You had great wrestling between Chad Gable and Ludwig Kaiser, and they were both bloodied, battered, and bruised, and Chad Gable had a great sentimental promo afterwards with his family in the ring. The Mexico crowd was fucking nuts and great for it. It was the best thing WWE has done in probably 3 solid years. Their PLEs fucking suck. This didn't. So, and it's free again. It's free on YouTube. Go ahead and at least watch this. Maybe the Rey Mysterio or the Rey Fenix match before that opened up the show, I believe. The other 2 matches, because I think there was only 4. It was only an hour and a half or so long. Those other 2 matches are, you don't need to watch that. Nothing crazy could happen. But the opening and the closing match were really good. So there's some props there for WWE. And some anti-WWE stuff, like I said, TKO is just fucking ruining everything. It won't take long before they ruin AAA, I feel like, because they're going to want to take over them, I feel like, more control once they see that they make a lot of money for them. Triple Mania 34, night 1 is to take place in Vegas. They're already taking it away from that beautiful Mexico crowd. It hurts my soul, again, for being part Mexican, for loving the sport of luchador wrestling, and it fucking pisses me off. So, the good with the bad with WWE. They do something great, and then they do something fucking stupid. There's comments, people that I liked, talking about the saying that they have for this, really. And then even, talking about Chad Gable. This was probably his highlight of his career. He's Minnesota native like I am, so I love Chad Gable, and I think he is this era's version of Shelton Benjamin in WWE. Shelton Benjamin never did as well as he could have and should have in WWE, and Chad Gable's the same way. They likely won't give him a world title run. At best, he'll beat maybe Penta at SummerSlam in Minnesota, but that's it. I feel like this gimmick storyline was a highlight of his career in WWE anyway, and that's sad to see. Now, going into my DDT, this is going to be our doubling down take for this DDT session. First one goes Ronnie Jones. He says, imagine being wasted in the middle card, having adopt an on paper very stupid gimmick storyline, and then turning it into the feud of match of the year for WWE, I would add. It's not the match of the year, but it's up there. Thank you, Gable and Ludwig Kaiser. El Grande Americanos. I agree with that. And then I have actually another one right here. Rando Goddamn Rodriguez goes on to say, but I thought reviews of matches on websites like this in Cage Match don't matter. For context, right now in Cage Match, it's a very high-rated match, which it should be. I think it is good. But you got a lot of E-stands out there being like, greatest match of the year, AEW could never, blah, 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 blah. When literally last weekend for Double or Nothing, they were fucking shitting all over Cage Match ratings, saying Double or Nothing wasn't good. It's Cage Match is just AEW basement dwellers, blah, blah, blah. So this person saying that's really funny, and actually down below said, it only matters when WWE actually puts on a good match. And he responded by laughing. Let me know down below if you agree with those doubling down takes for this segment. That's all out in this episode of Screw the Script. Let me know down below what you liked about Collision. Did you watch Fusion? Did you watch the El Grande Americano match? If you haven't, I actually suggest watching those shows free on YouTube, so you can't go wrong there if you want to watch some different style wrestling than AEW. And let me know what you're looking forward to most this upcoming Dynamite. We got a lot of stuff coming up. And that computer. It's Sunday, didn't get delivered today. It should be delivered early this week. I will get that USB card plugged in, and we'll see where this hacker left me. As always, this has been Maverick with Studio Script. Thanks for watching.